And, you know, the playing time issue, Shaq did so many great things and made so many great plays for this organization. The way he is in the community, you know, it was well documented that, you know, frustrated over the lack of playing time. So I just think this is a good move right now for both parties. You know, not an easy one, really hard decision, obviously, because of who this player is. But it's a performance-based league, so you gotta produce, and it isn't based on what you've done in the past. So this gives them an opportunity to try to find a landing spot as well.
All right, so you just heard former Indianapolis head coach Chuck Pagano there give his answer as to why the Colts released Shaquille Leonard. It essentially boiled down to he wanted more playing time. The Colts were not wanting to give it to him because he wasn't producing up to the level that they felt he should be producing to warrant more playing time. So they released him, and they let him go and try to find a chance to compete and actually get on a team that has playoff aspirations. Now, the problem with this is, as a Cowboys fan, you have to ask the question, if a player is truly an all-pro caliber player, which Shaquille Leonard at one point in his career was an all-pro caliber player. If a player is an all-pro caliber player, why would a team just release them in the middle of the season? That's what we have to figure out, and that's kind of what I want to take a deeper look into on today's video. We're going to take a look at some film that may answer that question a little bit, and we're just going to take a look at the last couple of years and what he's had to deal with and compare that to his previous years of productivity. And I'm just going to tell y'all this right now. Cowboys fans, we need to temper our expectations, whether we sign him or not. If we sign him, great. It's adding another capable body to that linebacker room, and who knows, it could have been a motivation issue or just him trusting his body overall, and he could eventually get back to his former self, as he's honestly still kind of a pretty young player as he entered the league in 2018. So it's not like he has a decade on his legs already. This guy has plenty of burn left if his body doesn't give out on him. And I kind of want to jump into that part of this first. Something to note with Shaquille Leonard is all of 2022, he was dealing with various injuries, all right? He spent majority of the season on the shelf with either a back injury from his offseason surgery that he had before the season started, and then when he did finally come back in week 4, he suffered a concussion and a broken nose, which kept him out for a few more weeks. And then after he played a couple more games, he suffered another back injury or a setback with that back injury that forced him to miss pretty much the remainder of the season. All right, so he played just 74 snaps during 2022, and obviously when a player essentially misses a year off, that preceding year can be an issue as it pertains to just confidence and just really trusting your body and trusting that you're able to do what you once used to be able to do. And I feel like Shaquille Leonard is existing somewhere on that plane of not quite trusting his body or not quite having full confidence in what he's capable of doing on the field right now, because a lot of the stuff that you see on film is not necessarily play recognition issues or anything like that. A lot of it honestly seems kind of physical, but we're about to get there in just a second. I want to take a look at his productivity first. So obviously his first 4 years in the league, he was a premier linebacker. He was one of the best linebackers in the National Football League. And to me as a player, what really made him special was his motor. He really reminded me of someone like an Oluwakan or Roquan Smith or Fred Warner, someone who was going to outwork you on that field and had enough football IQ to where he was going to be in the right places at the right time to give himself an opportunity to make plays. I feel like that's what Shaquille Leonard's calling card was, is just he was all over the field, man. He was incredibly strong. He had amazing lateral quickness, great play recognition, and just a very physical football player. And that makes for a great linebacker 9 times out of 10. Shaquille Leonard was the type of player who's going to fill up the stat sheet, bro. 2018, 2019, even 2020, he was going to get you a little bit of everything, whether it's going to be an interception or interception return for a touchdown or forced fumbles or even fumble recoveries because he's getting to the ball first, tackles for a loss, sacks. He was giving you a little bit of everything in his first 3 seasons in the league. In 2021, he was a forced fumble machine and a physical menace on the football field, forcing 8 fumbles over the course of the season. And then we mentioned 2022 earlier, and that's where he really started to run into some injury issues. See, 2021, he played all 16 games, but in 2022, he only appeared in 3 games, only started in 1 game, and again, only played 74 snaps for that entire season. And this year, he's essentially trying to come back or bounce back off of that injury, and that's why I think it's a little bit too early to necessarily write Shaquille Leonard off. But the film does make me feel like we need to pump the brakes a little bit on how impactful we think this signing would really be, especially when we have someone like Marquise Bell and Damone Clark in our linebacker room right now. And those two guys are playing amazing. And I'm going to be real, bro. The film shows they're covering more of the field than Shaquille Leonard is at this point in his career. And let's go ahead and jump into said film. Now, I mentioned before, one of Shaquille Leonard's best traits as a player was the fact that he was just all over the field, guys. This is one of those linebackers that seemed like he was in on almost every play, and he was just always at the right place at the right time. But the film that I've seen so far from what I've been watching, I'm not going to sit and pretend like I've watched all of the film that he's had from this entire year. I mainly have just seen the full New England Patriots game, which was his last game that he played as an Indianapolis Colt. There were a couple of plays in particular that really stood out, and one of them that I really want to point out first is he's not taking really good angles, and his effort just does not seem to be quite where it once was. I don't really feel like he's running full speed here. He took a really bad angle on this rushing play here, and it led to the Patriots being able to actually get a decent gain on that particular play. And then you actually see here, this is something that you really wouldn't have seen earlier in his career, is him missing a tackle leading to a big play. Shaquille Leonard in the open field missing a tackle, and it leads to almost a 20-yard gain. All right, now obviously this can happen to anyone in the NFL, but when you're looking at a player like Shaquille Leonard and the level that he used to be able to play at, this is something that's a little bit alarming and could be a reason why we see Indianapolis part ways with him. This wasn't even the only play in which he had a broken tackle charged against him. He actually had another broken tackle against Ezekiel Elliott. He got caught with a stiff arm, and Zeke was pretty much able to just shrug him off here. And again, Darius Leonard was a player that was known for his physicality, how quick he would get to the point of attack, and just him being at the right place at the right time. And even when he's at the right place now, it just doesn't seem like he's one of the first guys in on making a play at this point, and that's a little bit worrisome when you're looking at it on film. And it kind of looks like there may be an effort issue, either that or he's really truly just not trusting his body right now, and he's not really confident in what he's able to do on the field, and he may not really just be pushing it that way. And to be honest, it does seem like he's a little bit less physical than what he used to be, is you don't really see him making solid tackles with his shoulder pads or anything. He's really doing a lot of arm tackling and running past plays, and I don't know, his movement just doesn't look as good as what it used to look. I'm sure if we go back and look at some 2018, 2019 film, we would see a completely different player here. I do want to make it clear, however, even with all of that, I would still love to have Shaquille Leonard on the Dallas Cowboys. I would just hope that they have a solid plan in place for him. Obviously, if Jerry Jones wants a player, Shaquille Leonard is scheduled to visit the Cowboys later in this week. If Jerry Jones wants a player, he's not going to let them leave that building. But at the same time, I would just be a little bit less bullheaded on this particular move if I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, especially when our young linebackers have been playing so well. And one of his biggest issues was the fact that he felt like he wasn't getting enough playing time. I'm gonna be completely honest, some of our division rivals have injuries in their linebacker room, and he may be a better fit for them right now, and honestly may be able to satisfy exactly what it is that he's looking for. And if that's the case, good on them. That's another good player that they're adding to their roster. If we get him, good on us. That's another good player that we're adding to our roster. But by no means do I believe that any team that's signing him is going to be getting all-pro level Shaquille Leonard. But hey, if he signs with the Cowboys, please make me look bad and make me look dumb, Shaquille. Either way, y'all know how we end these videos. How about them Cowboys? Be sure to follow your boy on X at the Dak Attack Show. Subscribe to the channel and be sure to leave a like on the video. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take it away, Pastor.
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still in ball? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still in boys. Hey! Woo! Oh, shut up, my boy. Hey! I'm still in boys.